You are looking live at Apalachee High School in Georgia, where we're now learning a school resource officer took a student into custody after police say he killed 2 students and 2 teachers. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Deborah Morgan.
And I'm Gerald Owens. This is the newest information we have right now at 6. The sheriff says investigators have interviewed the 14-year-old student they say is responsible for the shooting. He is now in custody. The sheriff adds at this point there is no known connection between the suspect and the victims. The school superintendent said all schools in that county will be closed for the rest of the week.
As we are watching fencing being put up around the school, WRAL's Ashley Rowe is here now. And Ashley, we are hearing some firsthand accounts from students and parents who are really scared for several hours during all of this.
And Deborah, we are also learning more about the victims. In a Facebook post, a daughter shares how her father, David Phoenix, is one of the 9 people taken to the hospital to be treated for gunshot injuries. She says her dad was shot in the foot and hip. He got out of surgery and is stable. Mr. Phoenix is a teacher and coach at Apalachee High School. Now, the names of the 4 people killed have not been released, but we are hearing from students, children, of course, who are now grieving the loss of their teachers and fellow students.
It's kind of sad knowing that I can't say good morning to that teacher anymore, but it's also like it could have been way worse, and I'm glad that we have training with the officers. Because I did training with officers for practice school shootings, and I'm glad they've been really well trained and they knew what to do.
Just incredible. A school resource officer was the one who engaged with the 14-year-old suspected shooter, getting him to surrender and then taking him into custody. Gerald.
All right, thank you, Ashley. We have sent several breaking news push alerts, including this one, when we first learned about the shooting around noon. Make sure to download the WRAL News app to be the first to know about breaking developments on this and every story we are following.
Coverage you can count on.
Breaking news at 4 o'clock. At least 4 people are dead and 9 others injured after a high school shooting in Winder, Georgia. That's a suburb of Atlanta. Thanks for joining us on this busy news day. I'm Lena Tillett.
And I'm Dan Haggerty. Law enforcement sources telling CNN the shooter is believed to be a 14-year-old and is currently in police custody. This happened at a high school about an hour outside of Atlanta. As we take a live look now, this is the media staging area that you see here. This is in Barrow County, Georgia, where authorities are planning to give an update any moment. We want to get you these updates of the very latest that we know right now. Ashley Rowe is following the latest coming in. Ashley, what can you tell us?
Well, guys, the shooting happened at Apalachee High School at around 10:23 this morning. Parents and students still being reunited at this hour. Here's the very latest. 4 people have died. We don't know if they are students or teachers. At least 9 people went to the hospital with injuries. You may be seeing varying numbers here. This is the confirmed 9 people hospitalized. That number likely to change. The suspect is in custody and alive. Investigators have not identified this person yet. The school day had just gotten started. Students were in second period when gunfire erupted inside their school.
I heard like the policemen were chasing the person up and down the hallways. You can hear the shooting, but from like afar.
We got in a corner, some girls started crying, and then I was like, calm down, and then the teacher, she was shaking and everything.
I want to show you this video. This is the football field where students started to gather when they were let out of the school, and you can see this prayer circle starting to form here. And these are text messages. This is really hard. Between a mother and a student. It's just an example of how frightening this was for the people inside the school during this shooting. The student saying, "School shooting right now. I'm scared. I'm not joking. I love you." Mom saying, "Love you too, baby." And then at the very end, underneath, someone's dead. WRAL's Brian Schrader is in the WRAL Live Center monitoring updates coming in from investigators. Brian?
Ashley, we're expecting that press conference from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation to begin at any minute now. We're going to be monitoring those live pictures here in the WRAL Live Center. All new in the past 5 minutes, former President Donald Trump has posted on Truth Social about the shooting, saying these cherished children were taken from us far too soon by a sick and deranged monster. And in the past hour, Vice President Kamala Harris at a rally in New Hampshire said it was a senseless tragedy. Quote, "We've got to stop it. It does not have to be this way." way, end quote. We've also heard in the past half hour from Georgia's Governor Brian Kemp, who issued this statement saying this is a day every parent dreads, and Georgians everywhere will hug their children tighter this evening because of this painful event. He pledged all of the state's resources to the families there in Winder, Georgia, and also to the investigation. Again, waiting on that press conference to begin. As soon as it begins, we will let you know how any new information that is coming out of Winder, Georgia, here from the WRAL Live Center.
Sure. All right, Brian, thank you. Also
9:30 a.m. The school day had just started at Apalachee High School near Atlanta when shots were fired.
It was just like a loud boom as if a locker had slammed. So my teacher thought it was just like some kid acting foolish. So then she took a peek outside, and then we heard repeatedly the banging again, and that's when we could identify it was the gun.
Law enforcement swarmed to the scene while students sheltered in their classrooms.
The hard lockdown was placed, and then we ran to the back of the classroom, turned off the lights. I was shaking.
NBC News has learned there are 4 dead, many more injured.
We do have a suspect in custody, and we are asking for your patience as the media to please let us get the facts that we need to make sure we get this right.
After a lockdown was lifted, students were released. Parents and guardians arrived to take students home. Shirley Powers was worried about her grandson.
I feel sorry for the kids that they've had to experience such evil.
Kathleen Hardrick checked on her neighbor, a senior.
Yeah, he actually heard the shooting. He's like, they're shooting right across from my classroom. How does this happen?
Now a school and a community wait for an answer. Dan Sheneman, NBC News. The school day had just started at Apalachee High School near Atlanta when shots were fired.
It was just like a loud boom as if a locker had slammed. So my teacher thought it was just like some kid acting foolish. So then she took a peek outside, and then we heard repeatedly the banging again, and that's when we could identify it was the gun.
Law enforcement swarmed to the scene while students sheltered in their classrooms.
The hard lockdown was placed, and then we ran to the back of the classroom, turned off the lights. I was shaking.
Authorities say there are 4 dead, 2 students, 2 teachers. Soon after officers arrived, they took the suspect into custody.
He is a 14-year-old student here at the high school. Again, he has been taken into custody. He will be charged with murder, and he will be tried as an adult.
After a lockdown was lifted, students were released. Parents and guardians arrived to take students home. Shirley Powers was worried about her grandson.
I feel sorry for the kids that they've had to experience such evil.
Kathleen Hardrick checked on her neighbor, a senior.
Yeah, he actually heard the shooting. He's like, they're shooting right across from my classroom. How does this happen?
Now a school and a community wait for an answer. Dan Sheneman, NBC News.